the thing I liked about a hub and spoke installer, one of the big things was that you could go back to any section without having to go back. Okay, now I can change my host name or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can just go to that section and then continue back on. You can like come back to the section you were on and then continue on. It looks like the Agama installer can do that, but I would have to test it.
Try it again.
So maybe that's what we got to do. Maybe we got to promise to play with the Agama installer, because I still have a real beef with these installer people just going straight linear. I don't like that. I really don't. Maybe Agama's my new savior. This is what I'm going to replace my love for Anaconda with. Is going to be Agama now. What is it, man? If this is true, then I really am closer.
You really are a lizard. Yeah, you're a lizard person.
You're a lizard, Harry.
Coming up in this episode, Summaries will change the world. It's the last version of YaST. And F-Droid is doomed. Hello and welcome to Linux User Space. I'm Dan.
And I'm Leo.
Hey, Leo. How about them AI summaries in your search engine? How is that going for you?
Okay. I'm not a huge fan of the AI thing, but these summaries can be useful when you're looking up, I guess like more factual type things. So, I mean, I'm pretty good with them. They're okay. All the search engines have them now, so they're unavoidable, I think, nowadays.
Yeah, for a lot of the part. I mean, here's where we, old graybeard, wave fist at the cloud kind of thing. I think a little bit, because I know we talked about this, and I'm I got a very set way of the way I search for things, and that syntax doesn't always translate to the way AI wants it to be. And so I get some mixed results. And so I kind of tend to just skip past all the AI stuff for the most part. Sometimes the summaries can be helpful in some of the search engines, I think, but I really don't. I just kind of don't pay attention to it. I just skip down the page now. I've got myself trained to just scroll past. And I know you said you were using some, but you had some concerns, I think.
Okay, so the summaries can be good in some places, but I don't think it's going to matter what me and you like, because I think they're just going to be part of the search experience these days, right? Like as I mentioned, all of the search engines are doing this now. DuckDuckGo, they do AI summaries. Brave, they do AI summaries. Google, they do AI summaries. I don't use Bing directly, but I think they do AI summaries too, right?
Copilot does it. Yep. Yeah, it does.
Exactly. So it's just going to be part of the general usage of the internet, of search engines and all that kind of thing. So much so that it's kind of changing the way that people are creating websites on the internet now too, right? Because one of the things that's happening with these search engines is that they're putting together those summaries, which leads to people just saying, okay, my searching is done. There's the answer. And I wish I could say that that's never happened to me, but that happened to me a bunch over the past few days, because I was just looking up some basic things about walnuts, right? I'm like,
okay, yeah.
If you didn't know, nuts are super high in calories, very high in fat. But here's the thing that summaries will do for you, right? I asked how many calories a quarter cup of walnuts was, or something like that, right? I forget how much it was, but the point is, it had the information for me. It did the calculation and told me this is how much, this is how much, this is how much. And I found myself saying,
okay, yeah.
And that was it. I didn't click on any of the links. I didn't do any of the things. I didn't research any further or whatever. It was just like, all right, that's a good number. We'll work
And
with
maybe
that.
it wasn't,
That's
maybe it
fine.
wasn't, but I mean, yeah, let's hope.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that it was indeed correct.
Well, that's good. You didn't put any glue on your pizza. Cool.
See, right. Yeah. That's the danger of these things. And we've talked plenty about that.
Yep.
But I think because it's just part of search now,
Yeah.
it's just going to be on everybody's radar. This is how they're going to do it. But the knock-on effect of that, right, is looking something up and then saying, "Oh, okay," and then that's it. Is what have we been talking about? I mean, we did almost a whole entire live stream talking about how terrible the internet was when you don't use an ad blocker of some sort.
Oh yeah,
because they're crazy. They're loud. They get up in your face. They take up all your screen real estate.
You're trying to read. All that, right?
Exactly. And so for better or for worse, one of the things that Summaries are doing is they're removing the ability of websites to serve up ads because you don't click on their link. The AI LLM thing ingests the website's content and then summarizes it for you and then gives it to you so that you have no reason to click on the link, which means they get no ad revenue. They get no clicks. They get no click-throughs, any of that. So that's going to change not only the way that these websites are trying to make money, it's the whole entire pipeline is now. The pipeline is at least obscured now and is only going to get worse because that means that not only are people not clicking through to see the ads, these websites are not even sure anymore how many people are ingesting the information from their website. Because if 3 people ask the same question, the website only got the original summarizing hit from the AI bot or whatever. So until these AI bots are sending those signals back saying, hey, we used your website to answer this person's question and, here's a penny, thanks for the website. Yeah. Then there's going to be a seismic fundamental shift in the way that the web works. And we've already kind of seen it now with paywalls. It prevents the AIs from being able to just easily scrape their stuff, and it encourages you to at least sign up to give them your email address and kind of move on with life, and then maybe you pay them too. But
I want to go back to something you just said there a minute ago, because I think that's kind of part of my prediction. And that, where the AI companies are actually going to be, kind of paying, if you will, forward. And I think because then people are going to be paying for the AI thing. So I think you're going to see a couple of things. I think there's going to be some dark messaging that gets kind of like put into the AI suggestions, which is going to be very targeted at different, almost like an ad, but like more subliminal, if you will. So these things are going to be like cooperative, where the ad is going to be in there, but not an ad per se. So like the suggestion will be to use such and such a product. If you got to get your stain clean, then you're going to use the Shout, stuff and whatever. So when someone says, how do I clean my oil off my shirt? They're going to say, well, using Shout, scrub, lightly or whatever, and then place it in the wash kind of thing. So I think you'll see some of that. I really think the product suggestion is going to get pushed, in a distributed fashion to some of these AI things in a cooperative way. And I think at the same time, you'll see, the AI companies, because they're so big and they're expensive and they're getting a ton of money, invested in them, that I think you'll see some of it.
They don't deserve, but you continue.
Well, I don't disagree. I really don't. It's gross. All of this is very, very gross. But I think you'll see something going back the other way, where they partner up with some of these other companies, and so you'll have a two-way street. So like the money's going to change hands in a couple of directions in different fashion than it has been so far, because everybody just, says, put my ad on Google and it happens kind of thing. Whereas I think that's going to change, and it's going to be put my ad into ChatGPT or, that kind of thing, get my message in there somehow. And so you're going to see these things, kind of pushed out further. That's my prediction. It's going to happen, I think.
That's an interesting take on it, I think, because for the longest time, ad spots were just a Google thing. Like you only bought ads on
Right. Now
Google.
it's on Facebook.
Maybe
it's on,
Bing, maybe
all the other things, right? Yep.
Right. So now what you've said is Google won't be the one-stop shop it used to be. Now you're going to have to buy ad revenue on all the chat GPT places, all the LLM places.
Just kind of like you do now, though, in some fashion, where you're distributing it out to Google, Facebook, and all the streaming services and all that stuff. I think now you're going to see it going to the AI companies so that they can get it in their summaries that you get when you do the searching. So you're still going to get the ads in the search, just like you always used to. It's just going to come in a different form. It's going to come in an AI summary form. Okay,
so the question now becomes, if this is the way that it goes, is it going to take force to get the AI companies to do this? Is it going to take a lawsuit of some kind? Like the websites that have all these ads or that want to be part of this or whatever, are the AI companies just going to be like, oh yeah, sure, whatever, we'll make the money? Or no, we're going to keep all the money to ourselves or whatever. Just be thankful that we put your link down at the bottom that people don't click on. Just be thankful that you're getting that. So
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question.
I suspect the latter. I think they're going to have to be forced into these partnerships.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I mean, desperation causes strange things, right? I mean, if you want to be relevant, you got to play nice with the main players in the field, right? And so, as companies are starting to not see the ad revenue, like you said, because nobody's going to their page, they may be forced into doing something drastic,
right? And I think it's going to line up, right? We've seen the MIT technology review or whatever it was saying something to the effect of 80-something% of companies that employ AI get nothing out of it. I mean, you might see productivity gains here, but you have to babysit it so much that you lose it all over here. That kind of thing. And that is what makes me wonder that whatever's going to come first. Is it going to be a lawsuit from these companies that want to get their name in the suggestions of the LLM that it's giving to people? Is it going to take a lawsuit to force that? Or is it going to take the VC funding now, or the people just throwing money at AI as a general solution for everything? If that money dries up, then the AI companies are going to be like, oh no, we gotta find revenue somewhere, and here's how we're going to do it. Maybe we'll partner up with these things and these companies or whatever, and then we'll start doing.
Well, even though they're getting those huge investments, most of those people don't think that's ever enough. They're going to want more. They're going to get greedy, and they're going to want more. So they're going to look to other things too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're going to set up yet another GPU farm with yet another electricity, some kind of power plant. That I'm sure is not great for the planet, but they're going to set another one up and do it
all
again.
That other stuff, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I mean, not technically, not legally did we do that, but yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep happening and keep happening and keep happening. So I don't know. One of those things is going to crack. Somebody's going to push hard enough that I think you're probably going to be right. There's always going to be this kind of symbiotic relationship between people that want their content to be seen outside of the generalized summary, and the AI folks are going to want more money some way, somehow, and that's going to be a revenue stream to do it with. But that's what I mean. I mean, so however that happens, if that kind of happens, or it really happens, or all of it happens, the fundamental way that the web will change. It is changing.
I think it already has. I think you were right. Yeah. I mean, I think people have become complacent in, how to do the search. I guess they're just telling it, things, just yelling at it basically, and accepting what they get back, and so that has really it really has changed things. I think. People just don't do their own research the same way they once did. And
I think there's a vast majority of people that never did, right? They may not have, like back in Google's heyday, when you could very specifically specify your keywords, your not keywords, your specific phrases, and all that kind of stuff. These days, Google uses those as suggestions and not as hard requirements, which is not good. But, to sell you more ads and show you more this and show you more that or whatever. But I think there was a vast majority of people that just absolutely did not know any of that, did not use search that way. And I think the advent of the new LLM type search engines that while they will go out to websites and find these summaries and amalgamate kind of an answer for your query or whatever it is, on the bright side, they're not going out to your website to ingest it to then add it to the model. That's not really how those work. But they do go out to your website and summarize your content or whatever, and then add some changes to it. Whether or not your link gets down at the bottom of that answer or not is, I think, irrelevant to what they're trying to do. But the people that used Google search very, very badly are going to benefit the most from this AI, LLM, search engine thing that is seemingly kind of cropping up nowadays. People can use the way that people tried to use Google back in the day is now the way that people can actually use these LLM search bot things.
Yeah.
So for as icky as it is for me, because I know those skills, it's going to be a real boon to people that never had those skills in the first place and still want to be able to find very specific information on the internet. Whether or not the LLMs jumble that information up and give you the wrong answer at the end of it, it's not.
Yeah, that's the dangerous part. And I think it's also dangerous that, people aren't learning the skills either necessarily needed to understand what they're asking for. If they don't know how to ask questions anymore. I mean, remember the day when you could push "I'm feeling lucky" and it skipped, past go, and you didn't pay $200 and any of that stuff, and it took you right to the website that you probably wanted. Yeah,
it was the top hit, right? Like as far as I understood,
it was. It was
you
the
put
top
in
hit. Yep.
A very specific query. You clicked "I'm feeling lucky," and then there you were. There's the answer to your question right there.
There was no ads. There was no nothing. You just went right to the page.
Yeah, that was back before SEO spam was the first top 10 of every query.
Unfortunately, that's the way it's gone. Yeah, so you couldn't. I mean, I'm not feeling lucky anymore. That's for sure.
No. Oh no, because you would definitely get an AI generated website. When you click that, they just had the exact correct SEO optimization to get number one for your particular query that Google didn't even actually consider. It just saw a bunch of words and was like, yeah, it's close enough.
That's close enough, yeah.
Man, how far Google and searching in general has fallen. Man. But, that's kind of the interesting thing now. I mean, like, Google has ruined itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it has me at this situation where I am considering, well, how bad could one of these search LLMs be? I don't use one on any I've used it a couple of times tops. Like I can count on all 10 fingers how many times I've ever used one since they've existed, and they've been around for a little while.
Sure.
But like the quality of results that I get back from most search engines for most queries has me kind of wondering, like, could it be any worse if I decided to use one of these search LLMs?
Yeah.
And I think it's going to have to be. I think that, I talk a lot of trash about AI stuff, and for very good reasons, and not just because the quality of the results are questionable, right? There's a whole lot of reasons to not use AI. But, I mean, I don't know. Is this a better search? Is it actually a better search, or is it just that it talks to you and fluffs you up and makes you feel like your query was a good? Is it like ChatGPT?
It's conversive.
What a great question.
Yeah, no, it's very conversive, which is kind of, gives you the warm fuzzy feeling.
I'm talking to a computer robot. I don't want to converse with you. Tell me what I want to know. The end.
Exactly.
I don't need a friend, man. I have those.
I have all the friends I need. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't need a fake robot one. Actually, this is going out on the internet. The YouTube AI is going to search this. I love robots.
Oh, dang it.
AI is my friend. I love it so much. I would love to give you a hug if you had a corporal existence. So, yay, don't kill me first.
Yeah, I welcome our robot overlords.
Yes, very much so. All right. Do you use these, person listening to this? Do you use one of these chat AI?
Is there one we should go look at?
I've heard Perplexity is the one. I'm sorry, this is going out on Google stuff. Gemini is absolutely the best one to use, for sure.
I think it's on my
Maybe
phone
second
and
place.
everything, yeah.
Yeah, second place. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, which one's the good one? Which one should I start with? I don't know, man.
Yeah, where do we
do I want to do this at all? No.
Probably not. I think that's the right answer.
Yeah, should I try it to see what the vast majority of people are experiencing on the web these days? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But man, is it going to be painful. So speaking of YouTube, you can watch us on the YouTube that we love oh so very much. Thank you so much for hosting our content, YouTube. Please don't sick Gemini on me.
No.
But yeah, so, catch our lovely faces out on YouTube. All of the individual slices. So you can get the whole episode there, but you can also get the individual chunks, just the segments there. So you'll just see the AI thing segment out there by itself. And if you're watching it by itself, thanks for clicking on it. Hit the thumbs up thing. Appreciate it. So you can find all of our content out there. You can also find it out on Tilvids, which I did promise I was going to put the singles out on Tilvids too. I need to do that. Whoops. Oops. But I will do that. So Tilvids, right? All of the educational stuff is out there. All of our history episodes are about that, are out there, which I have news on our next history episode. But stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
Not yet. Got to wet the whistle. Stay tuned. We'll talk about the next history episode. And of course, if you like the content, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Tilvids, or whether you just like following along with us on Mastodon and all that kind of fun stuff, you can always fund these endeavors. Not Endeavor OS, but these endeavors. You can fund Endeavor OS separately at their Patreon.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, they have.
But
they
on
have
our
own.
Patreon, yeah, it'll help us dig up more history, do more of these episodes, and all that kind of fun stuff. So if you want to find that, that's patreon.com/Linux user space. But I think everything is linuxuserspace.show/YouTube, Tilvids, Patreon, whatever. You can find them all that way. We've got cool links. I'm pretty sure the lust.sh URL still works, right? You can do lust.sh.
I haven't tested it in a while, but it should. Yes.
Listen, it's technology, man. Like, you just put it out there and it continues to work forever, right? So lust.sh/YouTube. Does that work?
I don't know. Survey says. Well,
yes, it does.
There we go. Cool.
It had to hop like 3 DNSs to work,
It
but it
probably
works.
did. Yeah. It's a little slow, but it'll get you there.
Yeah, so we have kind of that cool link shortener. I think we might want to do something more fun with that.
We could do some things.
For right now, lust.sh/thething, and that also works. So anyway, we'll see you out there.
So big news, Leo. A release is happening today. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's been advertised very much, honestly. I really don't, because we had to kind of look it up a little bit.
I think the part of it was advertised a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, on the end of the last episode, we had a comment that has since been deleted, I think, unless I'm just really bad at finding it again.
You didn't get AI to search for you. That's the problem.
That's it. Gemini, why didn't you find this for me? How dare you? So it is anonymous feedback, we'll say. And they wrote, YaST will indeed be removed in a future snapshot since no one is interested in maintaining it. Myrlyn is the replacement GUI for managing packages and repos, and Cockpit seems to be what is recommended for some. Yeah, it turns out I only took a screenshot of the comment that was shown to me. I didn't click show more first, so I don't have the rest of the comment. Sorry. But I
can answer that later, but yeah.
Oh, good. So the interesting thing is I think the YaST thing was slightly more public than the Myrlyn thing. But yeah, it's not like they took out commercials anywhere. If you were in the know, you were in the know that YaST was going away. That was kind of it.
Right. So what we're talking about, though, specifically is OpenSUSE Leap 16 released today. And so in the
as
release...
we record this.
As we record, today is the day, yeah. October 1st, new OpenSUSE Leap release. And so where I was going with that, part of the release candidate announcement of upcoming things to expect, they announced that YaST is kind of going to get some reduction, if you will, in the OpenSUSE land. And a clean install of Leap 16 comes with no YaST packages installed. Users can use the new package, Myrlyn, which is a drop-in replacement for legacy YaST software management, which provided a bit more than just a nice UI front end to Zypper. Some limited set of YaST packages will still be around, as Agama, the new installer, depends on them. Therefore, they won't be dropped on migration. The long-term goal is to go in favor of Cockpit for most of your sysadmin-y, management stuff in a GUI form. So Cockpit's going to be kind of the GUI on a lot of the, we'll say, add-on things that YaST does, or at least that's the goal. And Agama is the new installer. Those two things are web-based, if you will. So that they're obviously geared, the modern age, if you will. And Myrlyn is going to be the software management tool. It looks, from my glance, I haven't used it yet, although that's on my radar. It looks a lot like the current YaST package management stuff. So it has similar look and feel, which makes sense. It's kind of got a little synaptic sort of feel to it as well.
That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah. But it works from what everybody says, and it seems to be the way they're transitioning. So I'll have the link to that news article thing, I guess we're calling it, in the show notes.
Right. Because if I remember correctly, this was kind of a long time coming, because YaST has been kind of I don't know if it's a hodgepodge, but there were a lot of pieces that required a whole lot of maintenance that I think the will to maintain those things has been waning for quite some time. And I think Ruby was a big part of that.
That makes sense. That sounds tough.
Think it was.
I would not.
I think it was Ruby.
It could be.
Yeah, exactly. And so it just became more and more and more and more work, and fewer and fewer and fewer people that were willing to do the work.
Yeah.
And so the answer to the question was, well, what do we do about YaST? Is, well, we put it to bed. We replace it with existing technology, and then what doesn't exist we'll have to build.
We'll hack it in.
Yeah, but the cool thing about building that is going to be that it will be maintainable again. It won't be as cumbersome to maintain. Not only because it's smaller, but because you can choose your language when you're starting. And I won't say starting from scratch, because Myrlyn still has a lot of like libzip, still uses libzip in the background.
Oh yeah, it's still very heavy
same thing
dependent. Yeah, on Zypper stuff, sure.
Right, but you got to kind of choose your own adventure when you make these kinds of decisions. And so I think that's really good. But
I do too. I think breaking it up has some advantages. I mean, that way it does subscribe more to the Unix philosophy of where, one tool does one thing and it does it really well. And so I feel like that's not a bad approach. Instead of trying to make one big giant tool that does everything and maybe doesn't do everything, as cleanly. So I think that approach to this is a good way. It's hard to untangle things sometimes, though. So I can imagine a somewhat lengthy transition and trying to pry it away from people because that's what they're used to.
It's going to be an interesting kind of thing, I guess. But it's sad. I guess I just can't get over YaST has been a part of OpenSUSE SUSE and all of its various iterations for such a long time that it's just sad to see it go, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
Is really where I'm at.
Yep. It's an end of an era, if you will, for sure.
Right, because Myrlyn is not a drop-in replacement for YaST, just the package management and friends part of YaST. The rest of YaST seems like it's going to be taken care of by Cockpit. So Cockpit can do a lot of things.
It can.
A lot of things. A lot of configuration things. A lot of change the storage type things,
Right.
or change the IP address type things. So, I mean, essentially, a lot of the things that YaST was doing, Cockpit already does really, really well.
Yep.
And that's kind of the answer. Where, why reinvent the wheel? The wheel is called Cockpit. Let's just bring the wheel in. Cockpit is good enough to do the vast majority of what YaST did.
So like the networking things, and if you need to NTP set up all that, so like YaST did all that. They had modules for all of those things, and so Cockpit makes sense. And it's I guess it gives you the option to be able to do some of those things remotely, which which you had with YaST as well, I suppose, probably in the CLI variety.
Yeah, I was going to say SSH in and then YaST, do your thing.
The thing. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it replaces that as well. So, I mean, for all those remote administration tasks that you were doing with YaST, you can continue on doing it with Cockpit, which, makes a lot of sense.
Oh, and now that I think about it, was YaST even Wayland ready? I don't think it was.
I don't know. It might not have been. That could have been a thing.
So,
but must have been probably written in an X window, but
I bet it was going to suffer the same way that all of the old Windows controls are currently suffering, where there's no Windows 11 analog to it, right? Like, it's not skinned like Windows 11, so it looks like crap. Yeah. And, God forbid you scale. Those Windows apps look terrible.
They do look. They look worse when you do that. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And so that would extend to YaST as well, because if it's not Wayland ready and you don't have the cool thing that KDE does, maybe that's how you would Band-Aid it or whatever, but it just wouldn't have been ready. It would have not looked great in some instances as well. So you'd get the same kind of criticism that you got on the Windows side for the same reason, right? It just doesn't look right.
Yeah. So I mean, now you just open a web browser and away you go.
Yeah, so I don't know. What's really funny about this is that Dan started the season on
it's all my fault.
On an OpenSUSE machine, and then Myrlyn is really cool. I've got a Geeko back here. Something about this, they're just signs. The signs continue to point me toward OpenSUSE.
I think the little gecko guy, he's winning me over a little bit. Yeah.
Well, what I need is the bluefin dinosaur, like a plushie. I already have the sticker. I don't know if you can see it, but the sticker's right there by the framework logo on my framework, right? So I got that, but I need a little dinosaur, like a physical one. I'm about to buy the Mastodon elephant to support Mastodon, but to also have a plushie, right? It's not like I have any shortage of them. They're
right.
I like them. So I need me a dinosaur, but What I think I really need, I think the catalyst, right? I was never a Fedora guy. I was telling Dan this before we started recording. I was never really a Fedora guy, but I am now, not because Fedora is far and away better than all the other solutions, right? But because George Castro made it so easy and out of the box ready to go with Bluefin and Aurora and Bazite that it's just so hard for me to say no, right? Like, he made the base irrelevant to me. I don't care that it's Fedora.
Well, and that was the idea.
Yes. And that's what Linux has been sorely lacking for so long, right?
I think you're not wrong.
And because I don't care about the base, I don't even really have to call myself a Fedora guy. I'm just a solutions guy. Like, it just works. I don't care. I just install my thing and it's there and it works and I'm happy with it. And I tinker less under the hood. I still tinker with apps and all that other kind of fun stuff, but I tinker less under the hood anymore. So, an immutable works for me very well, very, very well. So what I was telling Dan before the show, though, was that if I were to ever really, truly make the switch to an OpenSUSE base, I also don't want to care that it's OpenSUSE. So somebody would have to do something really, really cool with Eon, the immutable thing.
The immutable one, yeah.
Someone would have to do something really, really cool with that. Patch it up the way that Bluefin and Aurora are, and then
when the batteries, include the batteries is what he's saying.
Yeah. So when all that stuff is irrelevant to me, I'll slap it on there and I'll use it every day. I don't care. That could happen. Really, really cool.
It could happen.
But that brings me to, if that's going to be the case, I'll need to install it, right? So I'll have to go through the Agama thing, which is their new installer.
Yeah, it's not the YaST-based necessarily installer,
right?
But it has some dependencies on old YaST things.
Right, and I would imagine that over time that'll become less and less, and then
it will be.
They'll have a libagama back there to do all of the heavy lifting and all that stuff. But this is much more like the Fedora installer, the Fedora web-based installer, which it caught me off guard because I was recently installing it in front of some folks, and I didn't give my VM enough memory, and during the installer crashed, and it wasn't Fedora's fault. It wasn't enough memory. So, but it crashed, and it caught me off guard because it straight up said Firefox has crashed.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Firefox didn't crash. I didn't have Firefox open. Oh, wait. Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
The installer is web-based now, so it was all happening through Firefox. And so
in full screen mode. So you didn't know it was Firefox, but it was a web page. Yeah.
Yes. And so if I'm not mistaken, that's exactly how Agama's working.
That's how Agama's going to work, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Which it makes sense that the Cockpit thing is also because that's also a web page that you're manipulating. So they're all becoming web-based tools, if you will.
Right. I mean, it's easier to maintain, right? I suppose. But the thing about Agama is that I've been lamenting for a while that Anaconda was my installer of choice because they were the only one that dared do it differently.
Right.
Instead of like just a next. Because
it's a hub and spoke. You go out to each thing and you come back to the main central place, and then you pick your next one and you do the next thing, and then you all come back. You got a lot of back and forth, if you will.
Right.
Depending on what you're doing.
Right. And one of the things about Agama, I haven't used it yet, so I'm not 100% sure that what I'm saying is going to be true, but I think it's true. The way that it looks is this is going to be true. So while it won't be hub and spoke, it is more on the linear side. You can do it out of order if you're going backwards. So like it's got your task list on the left essentially, and you next through that task list, but it looks like you'll be able to go back up to
which is kind of how YaST works
tasks.
Now.
Right. Exactly. And I think this is going to be where my love goes, my installer love. If I had to pick an installer that I like the most, it's probably going to end up being Agama, right? Because of that little feature. Because the reason that I hate linear installers so much is because I'll get like 5 pages through and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Where was that?
Yeah,
I don't know. Was it 2 pages back, 3 pages back, 4 pages? I don't know. They don't give you any indication.
On the left. Yeah, just click.
Exactly. And so I have to go back. Oh, there it is. Change the thing. Next. Right? With Agama, it looks like I'll be able to go back. Maybe. Oh, let me set my host name 3 pages ago. It's right there. Obviously, it's called host name. That's where I need to go. Click. I'm there. Change the host name. And then click back to where I was. It removes all of the pain point of the things that I hate about linear installers. And while it is a linear installer,
it's still linear though. At the same time. So that's not so bad.
Right. I can get along with a linear installer when you give me the information I need to be able to go back and fix something if something comes.
We'll have to see if all that's true. And if it is, Leo might be one right over here.
See, again, another sign that I should be on the lizard.
I think so. All signs point to the lizard.
Man.
You'll have Myrlyn casting your spells and everything.
Yep. Nate's going to love this one. Okay. I have to prepare for that conversation.
We'll see where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as I can tell, man, it's all shaping up to be pretty good. So I need someone to do the whole Eon make it like Bluefin thing. That would be really, really cool. So catch these and other great topics as they unfold over on the Lemmy, on our subreddit, or on our news channel on Discord, right? So normally, I think I'll have them by the time this goes out. But normally, if we're on it and life isn't crushing us, we usually keep up with all these news things in all 3 of those places. I I think we have a couple of victims for Reddit moderation and all of that, so I think we're good over there.
Congratulations. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's perfect. Congratulations. Yes. But yeah, so it's going to be to kind of help get those articles moved over to the Reddit side and make sure that there are no, swing the ban hammer if you need to. There's not a whole lot of
there's not a whole lot of that.
No. But anyway, so yeah, all of that stuff typically goes out on Lemmy, on the subreddit, on the Discord. So it sounds like the subreddit is going to get a little bit more loving. But it also, as life lightens up, and it looks like for me it will, by the end of October, I think life will be a little less stressful. And it's going to be good, which means that I'll have more time for Mastodon and
Awesome.
Discord and Telegram and Matrix and hopefully Twitch as well.
Blue Sky. We got some of that. Yep.
Oh,
Twitch.
and the Blue Sky, obviously. Yep. And yeah, so in the Twitch thing, I'm hoping that as life lightens up the load on us, that we'll head back.
We're going to
at least do a few
we will.
live streams.
Yeah.
Because those are fun. All the topics that we don't get to talk about in a show, like officially, they all find their way over there. And so it really is just another show.
Well, and occasionally they morph into a topic here. Yeah, occasionally.
Right. But the best thing about over on Twitch is that I don't have to produce it. Like, we just have to sit here and talk about it and put it out there, and it's out there. And there's no production. Yay.
You get what you get. Yep, there it is.
That's exactly. Maybe that's how the show needs to be, No, because I need to take out a lot of
No.
Yeah, some of my flubs do need to come out. But anyway, so yeah, find us on one of those places. Those places are really cool. The Lemmy is a whole lot more poppin' than I ever really expected it to be. But
yeah, it's pretty great.
But that I actually killed it last night.
Oh, cool.
It came up unless you poked it last night. It came up automatically by itself. But apparently the banner I was uploading for my profile was too much for the Lemmy, and
it seemed to come back.
Yeah, it came back by itself. But yeah, I choked it a little.
Oh, cool.
Whoops. Add it to the pile.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. All right, so this one is a bit of a doomsday topic. F-Droid,
again.
Yeah, F-Droid put out a plea. I don't know. They are concerned with the recent Android developers decree.
Yes. Before we get into that, this is a long time coming. I have an Android Authority link. Because when I read the F-Droid thing, I was like, wait a minute, why is F-Droid so late on this announcement? And it turns out they were not. They were Johnny on the spot with their announcement because the previous announcement didn't actually affect them in this way. So back in June, there was, during the break, this is why we didn't talk about it. Well, also because it's Android, but Android is Linux, technically. So we should have.
Adjacent.
But we didn't, we weren't there. Anyway, so Google changed the way that AOSP works back in June, and that made all of the third-party ROM people very unhappy. And you're going to be like, oh yeah, it is very related to the F-Droid thing, because it is.
Oh, they tie together. They do. They really do.
So this was the first volley of changes that were going to happen that were going to make Android people very, very upset.
Right.
Well, Android people that cared about how Android worked is going to make them very unhappy. So AOSP made a change that essentially kind of brought the Pixel phones back behind the curtain of development, right? So just if you don't do third-party ROMs, basically what was going on for years and years and years was that all of the flagship kind of developer type phones that Google was putting out they would always put out all of the like hardware information about these phones as well, so that third party ROM developers could take that and use that as a reference to then build their own ROMs on top of, right? So it would always work on the Pixel.
Yeah, that was the phone they used. Yeah.
Right. But if you wanted it to work on the Samsung 55 or
Yeah.
whatever, you would have to do a little reverse engineering, which is why some of the third-party ROMs supported some of the things and some of the third-party ROMs supported other of the things, and then they would collaborate, and then they would, oh yeah, this one works now too. But
Yeah.
the point was, someone had to do the reverse engineering work if it wasn't a pixel.
And that part's time consuming, just going to say.
Exactly. But now, with this change back in June, you got to do the reverse engineering on the pixels now too.
And so that's really time consuming. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe impossible.
Yeah, you went from having to take it the last, and I'm guessing here, and I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong, but taking it the last 10, 20% of the way to get other devices supported, to now having to do 100% of that work now. So
sounds overwhelming to me in my view of it.
Yes. So it went from doing a lot of work to a whole lot of work. And I don't know if any third-party ROM folks gave up as a result of this, but I wouldn't see why that wouldn't necessarily
They're probably
be the
all
case.
going to try for a little while.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? Like it's gonna how much work is this actually going to be?
Right.
And then so all that so I mean, think about the way that
strike number one. Yeah.
Right. So luckily you kind of have an idea of how this stuff works. So it's not as huge of an undertaking as, like, say, the Asahi folks were doing, because they had to reverse engineer the Apple M1 chips and all the hardware from literal scratch. At the very least, you know something about how these pixels work, but I imagine every new iteration of a pixel is going to be...
Yeah.
Right. So while I think over time it's going to diminish, there's going to be new problems every new phone, every new handset that comes out, you're going to have new problems. So strike one, right? And now we come up to what Dan was getting to with the F-Droid thing. So okay, so I'll stop now, and you can.
And so, like, if you don't know, F-Droid's one of the we'll call it a third-party repository, if you will. So for your applications, and developers can submit, Android applications to F-Droid. You can install the store and then install all of your apps on F-Droid, which is very popular for a lot of these third-party ROMs that were going on, the phones, right? They would promote F-Droid. There's other ones too, but F-Droid's probably the most prominent. And like at the same time, a lot of people would install F-Droid on actual, Google devices, if you will, too, and they'd install different apps that way as well. So I think the basic premise that Google wants to get away from, and that they're saying, is all of those things are like, it's ripe for spam, if you will, or malware type apps, because they aren't as vetted and whatnot. But that stuff still happens in the Google Play Store just the same.
Exactly.
It's not immune to anything there. So what they're doing that is kind of killing this stuff off is forcing a registration, if you will. So you have to pay a fee, and you also have to submit your government ID in order to be eligible to have a verified Android application. And
they're doing the iOS model.
They are.
This is the way that the Apple App Store works.
And that's going to close down to basically only having the Google Play Store when you get done with all of that.
Right, because the problem here is that because F-Droid is going to be installing apps on your phone, that's where it catches. So if you don't have the Google stamp signature on the package that you're installing on your handset will say, hey, this is missing a signature. You can't have this.
It already gives you a warning. It already says this is a third-party thing. Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Exactly. But the new thing, though, is that F-Droid can't be a stand-in and sign these applications for you. They have to be blessed by Google. And by forcing this, it makes F-Droid irrelevant.
It kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, if Google has to sign everything, then what's the point of F-Droid? And I think
then you just submit it to the Google Play Store and be done with it.
Exactly. You have to jump through all those hoops anyway. And I do think this is just a way for Google to get rid of apps that they don't like, not malware.
And
as
they
they're
don't
saying.
want people going to other app stores either, you know?
Right, right. I mean, more of the walled garden, right? But
Right.
that's
That is the way this is going, yes. Yeah, walled garden, that's a good way to put it, yeah.
Right, because if you can't install something from F-Droid, you have to get it from Google Play. Then Google Play controls every single app that's on your phone. It's just with more steps, right? So there's no side loading. There's no nothing that it seems like that's what they're going for.
And in more than one place in the Google decree blog post, they said, to be clear, developers will have the same freedom to distribute their apps directly to users, through side loading, or to use any app store they prefer. However,
right.
they've made it really difficult, so they basically made that impossible because of the difficulty.
Right, because Google still has to stamp it. You can you can put it anywhere you want to, but if it doesn't have the Google stamp of approval, that means you can't install it.
Right.
And because you can't do that, then Google has ultimate control over whether or not your app is able to work, right? So think of apps like YouTube Vanced, I think is one of the ones that you use to get around ads and paywalls and all these kinds of weird YouTube premium things. I forget what they call their thing. But right. There's no way Google's going to sign that app. No way.
No.
So it is absolutely a way for Google to keep out any application that is not malware, is not a security risk, but is something that doesn't align with the Google ethos or something. I don't know.
And I guess, and even if you aren't killing off apps, I mean, I will say that, some of the open source ones kind of promoted F-Droid first, if you will. And so you get apps.
Why wouldn't they?
You'd get updates more frequently, and and sometimes the apps would come out there first in F-Droid rather than on the Play Store. Like I know Thunderbird was one of them. Thunderbird I actually installed initially through F-Droid, because it was there first.
Right. Yeah, because as far as I understood, F-Droid physically, the people that worked at F-Droid physically went out and said, well, let me look at your repo then before we say that you can be on the F-Droid store.
They vetted it. Yeah, someone did.
And they went and checked, and vetted it for malware, for shady things.
Yep,
and if it did shady things, they were like, I guess you're not going to be on F-Droid then.
Right.
Right.
It's a bit more manual probably than the Google process, but I mean, it doesn't, but like whatever. I mean, someone was actually doing the work to make sure that it was safe and secure.
Right. I mean, we have a laundry list of developers that are complaining that, well, Google rejected my app because, and it always boils down to because AI looked at my code and made something up about what it did, even though it didn't. And
look at all the Chrome extensions that fall into that boat.
Exactly. And this is what got Raymond Hill on the Mozilla. That's why he's not dealing with
Origin. Yep.
uBlock Origin Lite got rejected a few different times, and he was like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. And so you're fighting the same fight.
Yeah.
And F-Droid didn't do any of that because once you're trusted, they're going to look at the source of where you post that code, and then they're going to build it. And it's going to be great. But right. And so there's just more hurdles to do it through Google, which is why Thunderbird was able to ship faster on F-Droid than it was anywhere else.
Right.
So as far as I can tell, it's going to make life very, very difficult for F-Droid and any of the other third-party stores. And
I agree.
What do you do? Okay. So there's nothing you can do. You can beg Google to make changes or whatever, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. But this, if I am reading the situation correctly, for better or for worse, I'm on an Apple handheld, right? Like I have an Apple.
Well,
iPhone.
So you're already in the walled garden.
Right, I'm already in a walled garden. But one of the things that I was sad about when I left Google, just Android phones in general, was that I was leaving that. I was leaving the ability to sideload apps, to be able to decide what is on my device. Yeah, to be able to put on third-party ROMs and third-party applications and just issue all of the Google Play this and that. I mean, that hurt a lot. It was very unusable at that point. But, I mean, you could if you wanted to. And
Technically.
when I went to an iPhone, I lost all of that. I was fully into the walled garden. But now I can feel fine. I don't have to be sad about that anymore.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat with you.
Yeah, because now all of those Android devices are now also in a full-on walled garden, and there is no real reason other than base personal preference to go one over the other.
Well, don't fret too much because it's not here just yet. I'm going to lay out the timeline a little bit for you.
Okay.
So here we are in October.
I can't gloat yet.
Not quite yet, but it's coming.
Okay.
The handwriting is on the wall. So here in October 2025, early access is beginning on this new process. So invitations are going to be sent out gradually.
Okay.
So the verification. So in March 2026, verification opens for everyone that wants to, all the developers that want to participate in this.
Okay, so we're still in the pre-times, right?
We're still in the pre. We're nothing's
you can still sideload
yet. Still good. So September 2026, so like another year from now.
That's the hammer.
The requirements are going to go into effect in Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand. At this point, any app installed on a certified Android device in these regions must be registered by a verified developer. So that's not everybody yet, but the hammer's starting to come down. And so
you're going to see the effect.
You will, definitely. And because everybody's going to want to get on board because they want their apps to be everywhere, even in those places, Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand. There's probably a lot of users of Android in those places, so that might be why they're targeting those first. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So until 2027 and beyond, they're going to continue to roll those requirements out globally, and that's when the hammer is down. So you got a couple of years, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm going to say, give or take.
Yeah, conservatively, you've got a couple of years. Actually, me and Dan were talking about this too. A couple is 2.
That's true. It's not a few. It's a couple.
Yeah, you might disagree with me, but a couple is only 2. Ever. Mm-hmm. Only, ever 2. It is 2. The number 2, not 3, not 4. It is 2. It is always
a few
2.
Then. Yep.
Every time, right. After a couple, it's a few.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so you got a couple years.
Yep.
Conservatively before it's going to hit your handset and you're no longer able to do it. So I mean, enjoy the freedom while you have it, but
for now,
unless something big is changing, this is
unless they back out on some of these things, and they may because they're not implemented yet, right? And they may bump into problems and delay things. That's typical. But I guess I wouldn't be counting on it if it were me because it's really unfortunate, but it looks like this is going to go forward.
So is 2027, 2027, or 2028, that timeline right there, that is the year of the Linux handset?
Maybe.
Because it's the end of the road, right? Like, I mean, just like people are expecting Windows 11 to
well, you say that. I mean, a lot of those still, they end up having ways to, jam on your Android apps on some of those Linux handsets too, to get to get you more apps. That part's going to break probably too, I would guess.
Yeah, we'll see. If F-Droid keeps on keeping on and you have a Linux handset that will run Android applications, maybe that's F-Droid's new niche. Is to be there, run my Android apps on my Linux thing.
Yeah, hopefully they can remain relevant that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Google backs off on all of this, right?
Well, that would be great. That would be the best because, it's super annoying because, even if you don't have a store and you want to go out and just grab, a built APK and install it on your phone, you won't be able to do that if it's not signed either.
Right. Because Google has backed off on their big, huge initiatives, right? We were talking about the whole where they were going to auction off ad space in your browser and then ads would have to go through the browser and not on the page or whatever. By the way, that is still kind of an answer to our first segment about
The ads?
summaries and
Sure.
stuff like that. Yeah. Making ads through the browser as opposed to
The page.
through web pages and stuff like that. Yeah,
That's gross.
It's a pretty novel way to do it. But I mean, if ads are here to stay, then I mean, maybe,
that's as bad as having them show up in your start menu, for crying out loud.
Yeah, seriously. But I mean, no, it is an answer. So
I guess.
Google has backed off on those things before. So maybe,
let's hope.
maybe
Let's really hope
they'll back off on this too. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think that's where F-Droid's going with this announcement, is they're hoping that enough outcry will happen to push back on it, and at least delay, if not kick it all the way down the road.
Yeah. I mean, just promise me you won't do it until 2080, and then I'll
yeah, we're good.
We'll find all the links for all the things that we've been talking about at linuxuserspace.show. Specifically for this episode, you can go to linuxuserspace.show/602 for season 6, episode 2. And you can find all the links that we talked about today. But if you know the episode that you're talking about, you can type in the season number, the season, and then the episode number, and then find that episode as well. All the links for that episode as well. Or if you don't know which one you want, linuxuserspace.show, enter.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can find all of the episodes, all of the past episodes. You can find the audio episodes there, and links to the video version of the episode as well. Otherwise, you can just
all that stuff. Yeah,
all that stuff. Or you can just go straight to youtube.com/linuxuserspace, and we're there as well. But if you want to get on the show, if you want to hear your words on the show, you can send us an email at contact@linuxuserspace.show or the contact page on linuxuserspace.show. See, we named it contact for both. So it's always contact.
Yeah, it's
no matter where you go. Makes sense. Makes too much sense.
I think so. And so we've got a couple down here coming in the dock here.
That's right.
That have done that.
That's right. So if you want your feedback on the show, so we have feedback today, but there was more feedback and the episode was already too big. So there's more feedback later. So anyway, email us at contact@linuxuserspace.show or go to linuxuserspace.show and click on contact so that you can get your words on the show, and then we'll have ourselves a little conversation about it.
So first up, Ant via Fireside did the contact page and submitted their thing. Says, hello, I love your podcast. Thank you for all the hard work. Will you be diving into the new Cosmic Desktop Beta? I'm not much of a Pop! OS user, but popped this latest offering onto my aging HP laptop, and it seems pretty nice.
I love puns.
I do too. It's great. Also, if you're looking for help with the Reddit community, I could pitch in. Anywho, thanks again, Ant. And so we'll be reaching out about that. But we definitely plan to do the Cosmic Desktop Beta. I'm probably going to be, maybe not today, but tomorrow, probably going to be downloading the beta and the actual Pop! OS version. Because I'll tell you, I did install Cosmic on I used the repo that is available for OpenSUSE, and I did install it on my laptop that I have OpenSUSE, that I've been messing around with that, and I played around with it a little bit, not a lot, but so I don't have a lot of comments on it yet, but I do plan to install the Pop! OS variety, get it right from the horse's mouth, if you will.
That's exactly where I'm at too. I want to do the Pop! OS one because it's the official one, but I stumbled across a resource today that makes me, I didn't decide not to do it, but it makes me wonder if maybe I should try more than just the Pop! OS one, because if you go to system76.com/cosmic/download, you will see a Experience Cosmic banner. And of course, you'll see Pop! OS. But what you'll also see is official, semi-official, whatever. They're listed on System 76's page. You'll see Fedora Cosmic Spin, Fedora Cosmic Atomic, CachyOS, NixOS, Arch Linux, OpenSUSE, Aaron OS, Redux OS, Slackware UK, and the Fedora Copper repos for Enterprise Linux 9 and 10. So
That's a lot.
It doesn't seem like you're pigeonholed into
No, I don't think
just
so.
using the Pop! OS one. But I think for my initial experience, the beta experience, I want to experience it the way that System 76 is putting it together. As we were talking about before, the reference implementation of Cosmic is going to be on Pop! OS. So that's kind of where I want to get it. As you mentioned, straight from the horse's mouth, right? Which you show me. What should I expect? And then when I take it over to Fedora Cosmic Spin or something like that, then or the Atomic, then all right, cool. We'll see what the changes are. But
I'm excited to try it out. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. It's not GNOME, but it's kind of got some GNOME feels to it from my limited testing. So it's a little different. Handles things a little different. Does the tiling bits a little differently. Yeah, I mean, so it kind of fits in with the System 76 Pop! OS, the current GNOME spin, if you will. So it fits in with that. I think it's going to be a nice segue, if you will.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So the answer is yes. We're going to do
definitely
the Cosmic Desktop Beta. I'm really excited to see what's going on. I think we should probably have something for you by the next episode.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll
have a check-in anyway. Yep.
Yeah, we'll see.
So Taco Ghost via YouTube says, I ran Gen 2 in 2004 and 2005 and loved it. Not sure why people think it's difficult. Just got to read some documentation and you're good. I mean, you're not wrong. If you follow the instructions, it is kind of easy, but I think it's the fact that you got to follow along some instructions in order to, make it happen. I think a lot of the other things that you can do are just sort of autopilot and a little bit to some extent, at least as far as the maintenance goes. So I'm not saying it's bad. It actually is really kind of great. And probably in 2004 and 5, you were one of the people that were really riding the performance wave with having those things compiled for your hardware.
Crazy people running it on servers and stuff. Whoa.
Yeah, and there's less of that now, right? The optimizations aren't quite as strong as they once were. They're
part of
there.
The distros now.
Yeah,
especially when you're in the cloud or whatever. They're custom made for that platform. So I mean, you're not getting as much mileage.
But even the general use ones that you get like in Ubuntu or whatever, it's not. There is performance enhancement, but it's not that drastic that you might not notice it on certain things. So it all depends on your workload, I think. You do get some control as far as what you're putting into it, and choice is pretty awesome always. But you got to do some work for it. So I don't know. It's a trade-off. What do you want to? You want to put a little effort in and kind of get some gain back, or do you want to just kind of sit back a little bit and somebody's got those batteries included for you that just you don't have to do a whole lot of work, I guess.
Right. And a lot of these comments came from our year on Gen 2 video that we did a while ago.
We wrote it out for a whole year, so that tells you something. Yeah, it
definitely does. But I think the difficulty really does come from if you're not seasoned in Linux in the first place.
Right.
The difficulty ceiling is going to be a whole lot higher. But I mean, if you were using Linux full-time or near full-time in 2004, I think you already hit that skill ceiling. Yeah. So moving over to Gen 2 wouldn't be nothing. Much of a huge thing, because you were already diving into config files all the time anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, I think a lot of the remaining difficulty comes from, you got to make a choice. Because these days, you can actually choose from 3 or 4 different init systems, right? And so part of my difficulty with it was that I had to choose one.
Yeah.
And then when you choose one, you have to kind of learn how to configure that thing. So I ended up going with Systemd during my year-long journey. And then we ended up with another comment on that same topic. Rafael Ferreira Pimenta said, I'm surprised they are using Gen 2 with Systemd. I think they was just to me, because Dan, you didn't use Systemd on your...
I didn't on one of them. I know I didn't on one of them. I think I might have had on the other one, but I did it both ways, pretty sure.
Okay. Well, the question on that was, why?
Why?
why use systemd on that? And I mean, it was just because you could, right?
I was going to say, I think because you can.
Yeah, I know that the vast majority of people that are installing Gen 2 are less inclined.
There's a lot of baggage that comes along with systemd. Let's be real, right?
Right.
However, I think there's some of those desktop environments that sort of work a little better. So when you're doing a DE, you might want to think about it because, like, I think GNOME kind of is probably a little more in that realm where you want to kind of, and maybe even KDE Plasma too, where you want the systemd things because it kind of already assumes some of that stuff, if you will. You could probably get it's easier to get away from those if you're not using those desktop environments, I suppose. So if you're a tiling window manager person or whatever, I think you could easily get away from that.
Right, you get a very slim system that way. But yeah, I was trying to use it as a desktop, as a replacement for what I was already using in the form of Linux Mint or Ubuntu or whatever.
Well, you were comfortable with it, so that's fine.
Yeah, and I had to have all the bits, right? All the GNOME bits, all the this and that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, systemd was just an easy choice when it came to that. Like, well, I'm running GNOME, I'm running Network Manager, I might as well just pull in the whole nine and then treat it like the system I was coming from. Did that make building it, to Taco Ghost's point about it's not that difficult? I think that made it much more difficult. Like,
no, you get paralyzed with choice.
Yeah, so the choice itself already was bad, but once I chose GNOME and the whole nine of systemd and everything else, I think that made it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, once you got into it worked great. Yeah.
Because you instead of looking at GNOME in the face all the time, you had to look back behind what was going on there to make sure that everything was hooked up correctly. Because there was a lot of that. And same with systemd. You had to make sure it was hooked up correctly, whereas other init systems are a little less hands-on with your system. So anyway, I guess we kind of answered both of those questions kind of in tandem. But yeah, it can be difficult. Even if you know what you're doing, it can be difficult sometimes. And systemd, because why not? Why not? I was already building a system that was systemd adjacent. Just pull in systemd too. Why not?
So then another one we got here is from Fractal32. When do we get the 1 year of the Linux from Scratch challenge? Personally, I loved running Linux from scratch, but I was forced not to use it due to a very specific requirements I have for my system. Well, I think usability is the biggest thing that I have for a requirement for my system.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I require that my system works, so that's probably why we won't.
We won't do that. I don't know. I think it's like a lot of everybody that does it says it's the maintainability. Sure, you can get the system installed, but managing the applications and the packages and stuff that are on it is the hardest part. And you can install other package managers, but to Leo's point, like once I'm putting something like a merge or some other package manager on there, why am I not just running the other distribution?
Yeah. How much more control could you possibly want further than Gen 2?
It gives it all to you. There's no question.
Yeah. And then, on the other side of that, I feel like Slackware wouldn't be too terribly far away from Linux from scratch if you don't want to have to compile every bit of your system. You still have to compile some stuff if you're going outside of the repositories and whatever. So you can get some of the pain of LFS. Yeah,
you can dial Slackware back, I suppose, but for the most part, by default, it kind of comes with everything, including the kitchen sink.
Right. And I don't think it's a requisite of using LFS that you want the minimal system, but I think it's just one of those things that it's a practical choice because you're compiling everything, right? Same within Gen 2, right? The compile took forever because I was compiling GNOME, and GNOME wasn't necessarily the bad thing. It was like WebKit.
Oh yeah, well,
that thing took hours.
To that point, even Gen 2 has binary packages now.
Yes,
as a choice.
Their server is faster than my laptop, why not? I get less choice over the flags I get to run those with or whatever. But if I want that, I have to compile it myself.
It made it a lot better for the browser thing. That was the one that really got me. Man, did that take a long time.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, so with LFS, like, I'm not going to try and hand compile everything. That would be a nightmare. So I would want some kind of package manager, and Emerge seems to be the one choice that seems to kind of work with a system like that.
Yeah, probably makes sense to go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, at that point, it is just Gen 2. Gen 2 with more steps. So, might as well just run Gen 2. I think it would
it'd
still
be a cool
fun.
experiment. It'd be fun to do.
Yeah. I don't know if I would do it for a year.
Well, it might take you a year to get it set up, because like the way a lot of people do it is they'll set up a VM or whatever, and then they'll pause it, and then they'll come back to it, and then they'll pause it again. And so it can take days, weeks, whatever time. It can take time to do.
Yeah.
Because you probably aren't sitting down and doing it all at once. More or less is the way most people approach LFS.
Okay. So most people approach LFS as an experiment rather than something that they use for good.
So it's a good learning experiment, sure.
Okay. So then I have to ask.
I don't know how many people actually... So that's a great question. How many people actually just use LFS rather than set it up and do the experiment to get it going? How many people stay on it? That's a good question. So
if you've ever seen the lawyer commercials that we have in the U.S. or whatever, do you or anyone you know use, not experiment with, use LFS as, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a daily driver, but in a
something
regular
frequent.
sense.
Yeah.
So if the answer is yes, then not only would I like to talk to that person, but I really would like to get some insight as to, like, what do you use it for then? Because the only thing I can see using LFS from is just like, I did it, and then never use it again.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to know, have you ever seen daylight?
It's a good question. I think dark rooms lend itself well to compiling
I'm thinking
software
you're just
all
sitting
the
there
time.
banging at the keys the whole time. I mean, you'd never touch grass if you're doing that, probably, right? Because you're in a constant state of maintenance. You really are. As things change, it's a lot of work. Yeah,
that's one thing that surprised me about Gen 2 is there was always something to merge, always something to emerge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been and you could even turn on the fire hose. You did for a little while the testing stuff.
Oh yeah, man! Wow, oof. Yeah, that was hardcore.
So I couldn't imagine not going through that process, but without emerge or something like that. It would be
I agree.
It'd be crazy. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's all the feedback that we could fit into this show. We have more feedback. That I think it was just going to lead to a bigger, longer conversation, and we wanted to talk about the topics that we hit.
Don't worry. Yeah,
absolutely. So, get your feedback in for the next episode or two. Email us, do all that kind of jazz, and then we'll cover it here.
So that brings us down to next time, and the next time we've kind of not necessarily the next time, but in the future, we've sort of selected our history, and we kind of alluded to this a little bit. We're going to do a history of YaST at some point here in the upcoming episodes this season.
That's right.
And so, future Dan and Leo will cover that. I think that's going to be a good time, because like it's kind of an end of an era. And we can, kind of see it off into the sunset, hopefully. So that'll be a really fun thing. And we've also got, like Leo said, we've got some more feedback for the next episode, and we'll have some topics too. So that's what's coming up next.
That's right. There'll be the releases of the history episode will be a lot less fortune told. Like I can't guarantee that they'll be that every 2 weeks kind of thing anymore, because of, like I said, because of life and all of that kind of stuff. After October, maybe we'll reassess and see what's going on. But just know that I'm still working on the history. I love still working on the history. So those history episodes are absolutely still going to happen. But yeah, the timing on them will be a little less set in stone. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out for the YaST history. And
I'm excited.
I suppose the episode before we drop it, we'll announce that we're going to be dropping it or whatever. So as it comes closer to time, we'll definitely let you know. And I think I'm going to try and put that out on socials a little bit more. So if you're following us on any of those kinds of things, you'll know, you'll see it. It's coming.
So yeah, in between, catch us on the social places. Twitter, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Telegram, Matrix, Discord, all those things. And give us your suggestions of things that we should, kind of include, and give us some feedback so we can have it in the show. So, give us the ideas. All the links in the show notes are at linuxuserspace.show. So, Leo, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Oh, you can get me over on Mastodon at Leo Chavez at mastodon.social. You can get me on Blue Sky at leochavez.org. It's coming, Dan. It's coming.
You won't be able to rib me anymore.
I know, it's over. So where can we find you?
All right, so this is a big announcement. You can find me at monetaryabyss.social on Blue Sky. That's where I am. That's the domain I settled on, and so you can find me there. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Got a new domain, got that all hooked up to the Blue Sky, so that's where I'm at.
So if I go to monetaryabyss.social, what will I find?
Yeah, probably nothing, because I've redirected it nowhere.
Okay, so there's no web server back behind there,
no
or
web
anything
server
like
there,
that.
But boy, it'll get you to the Blue Sky on the Blue Sky app. I mean, that's me. So, I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, you can come back in a couple of weeks, and you'll get more Linux user space, and we will banter yet some more.
We're gonna do it again.
I could, probably should, maybe even set up some web to redirect thingies. And I thought about setting up, they have those Linktree-like things, only they're open source.
True that.
And I thought about doing that there, because that made a lot of sense for having it on my social page.
Let me just put my foot down right here. If all you're doing is having a list of links, you don't need, a service to do that. You
can host it.
You just put an HTML page.
I know, yeah,
there,
and
with
that's
the
more or
links
less what it is. Yeah,
maybe some emojis or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it look decent though. Not total garbage.
No, I just always thought the Linktrees thing was silly.
No, but there's an open source one that you can actually self-host.
Okay,
and that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
All right. I get it, because I'm just a technical.
Techno Tim's got one or something. I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I think I'm just being silly about it, because you would still have to stand up a web server and then install Apache or Nginx or something like that, and then host the web. And people don't want to do that. They would just do Linktree.
No, that sounds fun. That's the fun part.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Let's build it.